Welcome back to Straight Facts. Big breaking news from the off. Chelsea agree the deal. Personal terms done. Release clause activated for Michael Olise. They also today will sign the agreement for Romeo Lavia Caicedo over the line yesterday. It has been a mammoth 7 days. Plus, Costa from Porto could also be on the way to Chelsea to go in goal this season for them. Chelsea doing big, scary, potent business. We're going to touch on Man United versus Wolves, the injury to Timber, the injury to KDB, and a few other transfers as well, including Laporte to Arsenal, Maguire's deal being offered more. Long show, myself and Lee are going to be on today, so stay with us, hit like and share buttons. But before all that, Lee, how are you, mate? How are you?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well. Bank holiday in Spain today.
Nice.
They have more days off than Father Christmas. Literally, there's a bank holiday going on pretty much every other week. So yeah, bank holiday. I didn't even know that until I went to the supermarket and found it shut. But yeah, man, it's all good. Sun's out and guns out.
I like it, mate. And look, we can't start with anywhere other than Chelsea. I want to get your reaction to the Michael Olise news. That is done as far as we are hearing. Activation clause has been activated. I'm just reading it here. Has been activated. Personal terms already agreed. Olise now on that right hand side will be joining Chelsea. Another good signing in your opinion?
Yep. I said he'd end up at Chelsea. I thought Man City, as good as they are, is he getting in the team every week? Sorry, probably not. He don't have to relocate. He's already in London. You know, so yeah, it kind of makes sense. I think he'll get a lot more game time at Chelsea than Man City. Very good footballer. I think he's injured though, isn't he? I think he's injured at the minute. Palace fan in my chat said that he's out at the moment. So
yeah, he has got a little injury. Yeah. He's not. I don't think he'll be ready to play straight away. But yeah,
35 million. When you look at some of the average footballers that are going for nearly double that, I think that's class. I think that's good business, man. And Palace are probably kicking themselves when they're looking at some of these other players going for stupid amounts of money. That release clause was only 35 mil because they could literally have turned that into 65 mil real quick. Yeah, because he is a very talented footballer, and he needs to up his output in terms of goals and assists and stuff like that. But he's very good to watch. Yeah, he's got great technique, gets up and down the channels, can play. He can literally play anywhere. He's that good. Like, I think when you're that good at football, and you're that talented, and you've got so much technique and ability, I think you can play anywhere. But for me, I think his best position is right wing. And I think he could probably do a job at number 10, just floating around the number 10 position. I think that's a good signing. I think Chelsea have done some good business in the last couple of days, but I still think they need a striker. Yeah, Olise ain't going to be the striker, so they might have to go and get one. But yeah, I think if there's any Chelsea fans that are upset with that signing, then they need to give their head a wobble because he's a top player in the making, mate.
He is. I actually think a lot of young players should learn something from Olise here. If you're a young guy and you're joining Brighton, if you're a young guy and you're joining a Southampton, put a release clause in. Because essentially Palace might be kicking themselves, but what you may find that Michael Olise's team has done is say, look, we back our boy's talent. We think he's going to become, or is going to be, he's going to be a star. So we want to put a release clause in of 35 million. That way, if big clubs want him, it suddenly doesn't become an 80, 90, 100 million pound deal. This is something that I feel the young players have got to start looking at, because look how long the Caicedo deal ended up being 115 million when they wanted 100. That's because a bidding war started. But if Caicedo signs for them and says, look, I'm happy to join. Everything you're offering me looks great, but I want to put a release clause in. Maybe it could be substantial, 50 odd million. It makes these deals a little bit easier. So Olise might actually set the groundwork, especially as clubs want to sign people up to long-term deals and they don't want to lose people for nothing. This kind of could end up being because I think what you're going to start getting soon is players are going to sign these deals when they're young, say 18 when they join a club, 4-year deals, and then they're just not going to renew and they'll leave for free. at the end of that time, because it makes things a little bit easier. But there's so much money that's been spent. They've also, I mean, we obviously spoke last Tuesday, and there was no sign of Liverpool coming in for Caicedo. There was rumours for a while that Chelsea might reactivate their interest in Lavia. But what they have gone and achieved in the past 48 hours in terms of signing Caicedo after Liverpool got a deal agreed, and then taking Liverpool's, well, initially you thought it was their number one target, turned out to be their number two target, but took Lavia away from them as well. How impeccable or how good do you think that is, and a show of ambition from Chelsea?
It's mad ambition. Yeah, and it also muds Liverpool. And let's be real, Liverpool and Chelsea, we see the game at the weekend, you can see that both teams needed them players or that style of player in their team. Yeah, because at times, both of their midfields were anonymous. Like second half, I thought Chelsea were class. Like Enzo was sourcing out in the second half. But you could see that Liverpool desperately needed a Caicedo and Lavia. Chelsea needed the same. So the fact that Chelsea have gone and got them both, that's a big FU to Liverpool, isn't it? That's like, yeah, you can't mess with us, mate. We're Chelsea. Yeah, and we're back. And that's what they're trying to show. Whether they are back remains to be seen. But the ambition to go out there and get both. Now you've got a midfield, because we sat here last week and said, even if they get Caicedo, they still need one other. Because if Caicedo gets injured, they're back to square one. They'll have Conor Gallagher. And the fact that they've gone out and done that in the space of 48 hours, they've got them both. Yeah, fair play to Chelsea. Yeah, fair play. And Liverpool must be sitting there licking their wounds, mate, because where do they go from here? Like, who are they getting now? Because we got Rice, they've got Caicedo, they've got Lavia. Who else is there? Like, Paulinho at Fulham, well, I think he's out injured. Onana at Everton. And then who else? Douglas Luiz. They're getting Douglas Luiz, bro. Douglas Luiz, 25 million, job done. And that's, anyway, listen, real talk here. El Neni walks into Liverpool starting 11 right now because they ain't got a number 6. Literally, you can pick any number 6 in the world right now. He walks into the team. Any random number, Preston's number 6 walks into Liverpool's into this team because they do not have one.
Yeah, Liverpool have been.
And sorry to cut you off. The fact that Liverpool have allowed Lavia to go to Chelsea after missing out on Caicedo. Sorry, mate, that club is not serious.
Well, they're not serious right now. Then you're bang on, right? And I'm going to touch on Liverpool in a second. On Chelsea, it remains to be seen on the field of play whether this is going to come to fruition. However, I said it all of last season when they were struggling. People don't read enough about the good things Chelsea are doing. They knew they made mistakes, and recognition of a problem is the first step into solving it. People that have a drink problem, you cannot get over it until you admit you have a problem. People with mental health issues cannot become better until you admit it. In business, the principle's the same. In sport, equally. Until you admit you've got an issue, then you can address fixing things. And Chelsea have done that, and they've brought new people in. They've got rid of people that haven't been able to hit the ground running. The ownership have stepped away from a football perspective, but still get involved in terms of negotiations when they have to. And that was an amazing thing to see. They weren't quite, the football men have identified the talent, but they couldn't quite get the deal over the line. So the business boys came back in and gave them a little bit of a boost and a little bit of a helping hand. And that is perfection. And Chelsea have signed, if you just look at the players that they have brought in, and Kunku, Caicedo, Lavia, Olise, and there'll be names I'm missing here. Badia Shield, I know he's out injured. They've got Levi that's coming through, that's one of their own as an example. They could be adding Costa to this mix. I just don't see, with a quality coach like Poch, again remains to be seen whether he can win a major trophy in the Premier League. But in terms of him as a coach, developing youngsters, developing a style of football that is entertaining, hard to beat, and dangerous, I just don't think it is a logical prediction to say Chelsea are going to fail outright with this team and squad and how they've operated. And how I know that people believe that is because all they're focusing on is FFP. All they're focusing on is how can they spend this money. And I put a tweet out the other day that got over 100 people quote tweet it asking for community notes as that was fake. Now, Simon Jordan has come out with slightly different figures to me because he might have sourced. I would assume Simon Jordan's probably got access and contacts much deeper than mine to get figures. But it said exactly the same thing on TalkSport that I said about in the short term, Chelsea have actually made a profit on what they've sold based on what they've actually spent in cash. And the fact that everybody's trying to focus on how they might have done this dodgily, how the money might not be right, tells me they are absolutely petrified of what Chelsea are doing. And where you are spot on is the fact surrounding Liverpool fans in comparison, a completely unserious club. And the most embarrassing part for Liverpool is how they built a team that I feel for an 18-month period was better than Man City. They got it. All you had to do was keep adding to it. And they penny pinched, they scrimped, they scraped as ownerships. Klopp himself laughed at his own fans last summer when he said, we don't need midfielders. Look who I've got. He is accountable, partly as well. And they have absolutely dropped the ball as a management team and as a board. And their fans should be fuming with what's going on at Liverpool because they are completely unserious. And Chelsea, that had their worst season in 30 years, demonstrate what you need to do to get back to the top, let alone stay there, which is even harder.
Yeah, 100%. Somebody in the chat said you can't blame Liverpool. They tried their hardest. No, they didn't. Because like Terry's just said, when they were title challenging year in, year out for that 4-year period or whatever, winning the Champions League, winning the domestic cups, on for a quadruple, not once did they try and go and kick on to actually get over the line every year. It was just, right, we go again next year, lads. We go again. Yeah. Then they go and sign Cody Gakpo. I mean, sorry, as good as he may turn out to be, not exactly scaring anybody, is it? Right, let's just be real with it. Going out there and getting a Caicedo a year ago, probably for a third of the money, putting him in that Klopp system, then they might have gone on and won the league. You know, going out there and getting a top player, you know, they went and done 80 million on Darwin Núñez. Like, I mean, come on. Like, yeah, cool, his record in Portugal looks great. He scored 14 goals last season. Yeah, it's hardly ripping up any trees, is it? And listen, he may go on and kick on this season, but they don't put the fear of God into you. Like, when you look at that Liverpool team, right, they got Trent. Okay, cool, Trent can cross the ball. They got Robertson, cool, he can cross the ball. Van Dijk's nearly dusted. I'd say he's probably done after this season. Konate's hardly ever fit. And then what else they got? Salah, cool. Not exactly worried about the rest of them. Let's be real with it. Yeah, when you look at Man City, they've got top quality all around the pitch. And even when they have players, I know we're going to talk about De Bruyne in a bit, and they've got players like that out injured, yes, that's a miss, but they've still got 7, 8, 9 other quality players. Liverpool ain't really got that. Yeah, and if Liverpool had just added 1 or 2 every summer of a real high end, yeah, not just, listen, overpaying for Darwin Núñez was ridiculous. I think even the owner of the club said, well, we thought they were going to bid 40 million. Yeah, and they came in with 80. He goes, we couldn't believe it. Like, he actually, that's a direct quote from the guy. He actually said it. It was like, you've literally paid over the odds for that player who's not an elite level striker when you could have paid an extra 20 million on top and actually gone and got an elite level striker. Yeah, and that's the difference that separates Liverpool from everyone else. Because Liverpool, albeit they put the bid on the table, bro, I said this to you the other week, right? If they were seriously wanting to get Caicedo, yes, cool, put the bid on the table. You don't let him stay in London overnight. You get him straight in a taxi up the motorway, mate.
110%. And look, there's a few people saying lies and, you know, you're not telling the truth. Listen, bro, I mean this with respect, Steve. I know you've watched The Terrace for a long time. I know you have. But people have been talking about the decline of Liverpool for a few years. And what happened is you had that almost quad level season where your team performed miracle levels. But sometimes rivals are not being bitter. Sometimes rivals can see your problems clearer because they're not tainted by love. When, you know, sometimes it can be a person you love, and every man's been through this, and I'm only talking about this from a male perspective, where your friends are like, bro, I don't know if you can trust her, or she may be this or she may be that. But a girl you're seeing, and you're so infatuated with her, you love her so much, you can't see what they're saying, you think they're hating. And it might be a month, it might be 3 months, 6 months, a year down the line, all goes wrong, and you go back to your mates and you're like, bruv, you were spot on. Every now and then, rivals are not just being bitter, and we saw your team declining, and what we witnessed at the same time, and it was a gradual. So when you're one of the best in the world, you can have a 10% decline, but still win titles because you were the best. But when you keep dropping each year at that level, and you haven't purchased the right talent and spent the right amount of money, you're not leveling it out. You're not offsetting. and you end up going backwards. And we've seen this happen to multiple teams. Arsenal from their invincible team up until recently. Man United since Fergie left, as an example. Chelsea themselves. You go back to their teams of a decade ago and actually look at teams that were starting matches 12 months, 24 months ago. The drop-off in overall quality is palpable because they made terrible decisions in the transfer window. And there's a comment here that I want to go to from Sully that says, buying doesn't guarantee success. Poch is the ultimate bottle job. As Eric Ten Hag, he'll rectify his mistakes. We'll come on to Man United later.
No, he's right. Buying doesn't guarantee success, but what it does do is it shows ambition.
Yes.
Yeah. And now they've got all of them players in there. And if it don't work with Poch, he'll be sacked. It's as simple as that. But now the next manager comes in and he's got a decent squad. Whereas if you look at their squad 12 months ago, when Todd Bowley got there, you were looking at it going, Jesus Christ, this lot are finished. Yeah, they're absolutely finished. Now look at their squad. You go, wow, hang on a minute. This lot are serious. And that's a big turnaround in 12 months. And it also blows the myth out of the water that you can't build a whole squad in 2 windows, because they have.
Well, I think you can. I look at it this way. You can do it into how they've done it. Well, let me rephrase that. They have shown a new blueprint that didn't exist a year ago. If somebody would have said to you, a team's going to spend £1 billion in this time, most people would have said no, FFP. They've found ways of doing it that nobody knew existed. They found the loopholes.
Yeah, and they were here 6 months and found loopholes like that.
No, and I agree with that. I would say this. What it can't do, in my opinion, is they won't win the Premier League this year, as an example. So I don't think you can build it this quickly and be the best team in England straight away. It's going to take time to develop. It's going to take time to progress. It's going to take time for some of these youngsters to flourish, purely because it takes young players time to flourish. But I do believe, to this super chat, they have bought quality. Poch, I've doubted him as a manager to win the major trophies. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans have that same question mark over him. But in terms of Poch's ability to develop a team to play quality football, I think he has a proven track record of that. And we saw game week 1 against Liverpool, they started shaky 20 minutes. Then they dominated. And that is without Nkunku, Caicedo, Lavia, Olise coming on. Another goalkeeper that might come in. Badiashile out. I'm probably missing a name of another player or two that are not in that team yet. There's so much talent there. I think it's scary. Stu Buck says, so it's off to Anfield we go. They're rebuilding their squad, don't you know? They've got there and felt cursed. Caicedo had bought them all first, but what?
Chelsea had bought them all first.
I heard it. Is that meant to be to the wolf song from Snow White? It's off to Anfield we go. They've rebuilt the squad, didn't you know? We've got there and felt. I don't know what it's meant to be to, but that's your song, mate. I love that. That's
really confused you, that, isn't it?
Mate, I'm trying to sing it. Reading some of those words at the end with my dyslexia, my brain broke. My brain just broke. My brain just reset itself 110%.
Factory reset.
Yeah. This here says a football finance expert who worked for City previously has stated that Chelsea are knowingly failing FFP, points deduction a possibility this season. But this is the thing. This is also an element of where they could end FFP forever. Let's say Chelsea do break the rules and then get a 10-point deduction. Say they get a 10-point deduction, but they still end up finishing in the Champions League positions. As an example, they won't care. It won't matter. And then, because they've been fined, they'll get yeah, but equally, look, I look at it this way. Some people saying they're breaking financial rules. I don't personally think
they're breaking financial rules. It's more hope than actual proof. Yeah, because this, I know it's not a dig at the guys, but the super chatting, none of us know. And let's be real here. Todd Bowley came in, and him and his pals, and his financial guys at Chelsea literally destroyed FFP inside 6 months, 8-year contracts, to the point where FFP, well, you can still do 8-year contracts. It was amortizing the payments over 8 years, wasn't it? Now they've changed it, so you can't do that.
Well, no,
they found that loophole in 6 months.
But there's also, that's not strictly true, because they're not in UEFA. They can still do it because they're not in a UEFA competition this year. So Caicedo's still been done over 8 years. Now the Premier League's bringing a rule in.
Have done over 8 years.
Yeah. So if that rule only counts if you're playing in the Europa League, Champions League, or Conference League, because Chelsea are not in Europe.
No way. See, Chelsea are too smart, man.
They've done it again.
Chelsea have done it again. They're too smart. And this is the thing. Our football clubs could do this. Surely our football clubs know this. Because this guy's come in. He's got no clue about football. He's never run a football team before. He's come in and within 6 months, boom, job done. Like, and now everyone's like going, oh, yeah, well, they've broken FFP. No, they haven't. Because if they have, yeah, it would already come out. They've even grasped themselves up from the Abramovich era, which makes me wonder, why wasn't that found when he took over the club?
Well, do you know why it's not found? Because there is no governing body. So there is no investigation into football clubs. Man United's one was very similar. Man United made mistakes on their accounting and they reported themselves. They weren't caught. So all UEFA can go by is what their publicly declared trading accounts show them. And if you make a certain amount of losses over a 3-year period, and that's the 3-year period that you kind of, everyone has, clubs all have different 3-year periods from when they first submit accounts. As long as you don't lose a certain amount of money over that time period, you don't break FFP. It's based on trading accounts, not net spend or anything like that. But there's no governing body and no rules that allow the Premier League to come in and investigate. Like the FCA in the UK that govern the financial thing, they could theoretically turn up whenever they want to a department of a bank and do a thorough investigation and go through computers and files. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing like that exists within the Premier League. The reason that City have been investigated is because of leaked emails that sparked the investigation. Chelsea would never have found out about these offshore payments unless, by the way, a leaked email in 10 years comes out. And then it turns out they found it, but didn't report themselves.
Why
Then
do
they
you
would
think
get in
Chelsea
trouble.
reported themselves, though?
Do you know why I think they've done it, right? I think they've done it. I just think they've done it from a place of honesty. If we report ourselves, if in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it comes out, but they find out we hid it, because they may be able to find that out, depends on where the leak comes from. The leak could be someone who knows they found it, someone who works in their accounts department, in 3 years gets sacked.
Yeah.
And
doesn't get paid.
And before they leave, take screenshots of those emails and send it to the Daily Mail. Then Chelsea are in big trouble because they've covered up misdemeanors. So I just think what they've done is they've gone, look, we'll probably, if we report ourselves, they probably got legal advice, we're probably going to get a fine.
Yeah, it was before Todd Bowley was even owner, so it was like,
Exactly.
well, why not?
It's the new ownership. If you bought a business and you bought it in good faith, and then it turned out 10 years ago they committed fraud, and I think if it was found and you reported it and you went to the authorities and everything else, I just think that it depends on the size of your business. You know, if you're a local cafe somewhere, they'd probably just go, thanks for reporting it, it's not on you, we'll chase the old directors, maybe, I don't know. But I just think when you report yourself, you get in less trouble, and I think they're protecting themselves. What I don't think they would be stupid enough to do is suddenly get the eyes of the Premier League looking at them for cheating, if they were cheating. You know, if people don't, criminals in real life, where they can help it, don't call the police. Sometimes they might need the police, but they don't call the police. They don't want them sniffing around. Why would you want them anywhere near you, your life, asking you questions, if you're out there doing a madness? So for me, I just think it's people hoping, pure hopium, that Chelsea are breaking rules so they can come back and say, this has been built upon cheating. This has been built upon fraud. This has been built upon, not following the rules.
It's also jealousy as well.
Massive jealousy.
Especially the big six teams other than Chelsea. We all want our clubs to go out and spend £1 billion in 2 summers. Or in 3 windows. We all want our teams to do that because we want to win the league. Yeah, and it's like when you see Chelsea's owner come in and go boom, 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 spending money left, right, and center. Oh, they're cheating. That is the most basic thing to even say. Oh, they're cheating. No, they're not cheating. If they were cheating, surely they would have already been investigated by somebody by now. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Surely. Like when you look at it and you're thinking, right, they did 600-700 million. I think they're up to about 800-900 million now since he's been there, right?
I think when these deals go through, it will be about. I'm guesstimating here because I haven't added it up today, but I think it's about $1 billion.
There you go. And he's been there what? He's been there a year. Surely we all want our clubs to do that, right?
Yeah.
So when you see a club do it and it's the first time it's ever been done, oh, they're cheating. They're cheating. No, this is a disgrace. They're making a mockery. FFP is not real. Okay, well, if it's not real, then why don't you demand your owners to do the same then?
No, mate. Listen, I totally get it. I again, they've only spent about £140 million of cash so far, according to Simon Jordan. I added it up over 2 years at being around 255 million. Even then, it's not that much money
So hang on. Say that again. 200 and what in a year?
Because Simon Jordan might have done his maths differently than me. So I was going for all the players they've signed and looking at their contract length. I think it averaged out at 6.8 years. So when you add up all they've spent and divide it by 6.8 years, it was like 140. It was like 120 something million per year. So if they've been there, although they've been there a year, you add that over the two summer, like last summer and this summer combined, it was about 255 million, and it's circular. So it could be a bit more, could be a little bit less.
How much is on the?
On the trading account, this is the way it works. When you amortize your payments, it shows on your trading accounts as each a yearly amount. So 140 last year, 120 odd last year, 120 odd this year, give or take some pounds. When you sell, it shows on your trading accounts as an instant incoming. So they've sold around 270 odd million pounds for players. So theoretically on their trading accounts, when it comes to their players in and players out, they are 20 million pound in profit since Todd Bowley arrived. Now, there's other things to factor into this as well. So there's legacy payments for previous transfers, and but the wage bills also reduced massively as well. There's a feeling that when it all comes out, they could have dropped their wage bill from about 25 to 30 million per year, which means over the first 2 years at the club, they've saved 60 million in that area too. They're debt free as well, so they pay no debts like other clubs do, which cost tens of millions of pounds a year. People don't again, none of us know the full story because we can only go by the bits of information that come out. More will happen when we see the first set of trading accounts from when they've been there. Then we'll get the true story. But it's pure hopium. It's pure speculation that they're cheating. And there's no evidence anywhere that they have cheated. They've gone out and got Caicedo, Lavia, Olise, and Nkunku's come in. Jackson, we'll see what his finishing is like, but he looks like he's a sharp player.
Right. Yeah, he looks all right.
They've bought so many players.
Simon Jordan knows how to. Well, I say knows how to run a football club. He didn't really, did he? But he would know the way the money side of it works. He would know how the contracts work, etc., etc. So, if Simon Jordan's coming out saying they've done about 200 odd million or 200 odd million, whatever he said, yeah, then I'd say that he's probably there or thereabouts spot on. Yeah, the guy won Crystal Palace. I know he put him into admin and that, but he still knows that side of the business better than any fan.
And there's something really clever about FFP, and I'm going to butcher this because I'm not an accountant, and it was explained to me about 3 years ago. Say you buy a player for 100 million and you're paying it off over 5 years. After 2 years, you paid 40 million pounds off. Now, there's one thing about what you actually spend, and there's what your accounts say, and it's what your accounts say that matters with FFP. So you owe 60 million still. But say you sell the player for 50 million pounds after 2 years. So you're selling him, we would all say with net spend, you're selling them at a loss of 50 million. Yeah. On the trading accounts, that debt for the player gets moved to a different department of the accounts. In terms of the way it works for FFP, you've actually made a 10 million pound profit on the player.
Well, look at when you sold Di Maria to PSG. Yeah, you made a profit on that, on the accounts. Yeah, but you lost, 20 million quid on him when you sold him.
And that's the thing I would say. That's why I don't like that the media uses net spend. Again, I'm not an accountant, but it's been I'd have to get an expert to explain it against me. But essentially, you can lose money in real terms, but when it comes to the trading account, which FFP is run on, you're able to do it in a way where even when you're losing, you can make it look like a profit, and that's all that matters when it comes to FFP. So yeah, that's what I say to people when you don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on it. I'm not an expert on it, but what the experts say doesn't match up with what the journalists say. And I'm like, I want to listen to the experts, though, more so than a journalist who doesn't know what they're talking about. Anyone who uses net spend, when it comes to listening to them speak financially, they're stupid. There's no point listening to someone's financial opinion when they use net spend as a barometer, because it's not used by football clubs. And it definitely isn't used when it comes to FFP. And FFP is changing anyway. It's changing soon to a rule which is essentially... They're changing it soon, so you can't spend more than a certain percentage of your turnover. That debunks net spend even more at the window. Anyway, let's go to some of these super chats that have come in here. This says, Terry, I'm not scared of any club in Europe. Our downfall was self-inflicted. Special thanks to FSG, the board, and Klopp for ruining the club within 2 years. That comes from Sarim.
I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans on Klopp, a lot in the last couple of weeks. Like saying, get rid of him. Like I think you had, I can't remember the guy's name. I think you had a guy on your show the other day saying,
G said it. Yeah. He thinks he's done.
Mate, it's kind of reminiscent of Wenger in the last 7-8 years at Arsenal, where he was just sitting there protecting the ownership, We can't compete. You know, there's other clubs that can go and do all this money and we can't. And it's like poor little Liverpool, poor little Arsenal. Yeah, Klopp's very much doing the same. Yeah, and the problem is because he's done so well at Liverpool, you'll have 95% of the fans fully back him. So when you do get people come out against him, they're getting battered online. Yeah, and it was the same with Wenger. When the first Wenger out started appearing, they just get whacked down. Yeah, and it's gonna go one way or the other. Liverpool are actually going to do all right and start getting back to winning, or it's going to be carnage in that stadium, mate. I'm telling you, I've seen it firsthand. Yeah, Terry at the Emirates, from people beating each other up and that. Like, it's not pretty.
Yeah,
man.
It's not good. It's not good right now for them. They're in whether people like it or not, they're in a little bit of trouble. Nathaniel here says Todd has beat Liverpool so bad their owners are crying to the Premier League. So did you read about this yesterday? That Liverpool are reporting, Liverpool's owners have flown over from America to have a meeting with the directors at the Premier League to demand an investigation into Chelsea for cheating.
I see him at the game with his shades on. Yeah, the owner. I didn't know that was why he was there.
No, they've come over to try and grass Chelsea up. They are
what? Because you ain't got no pool.
Do you think there was a question? There was a debate going on yesterday. Do you think Liverpool have lost their pool?
They haven't had a pool since Klopp's been there. Name me a world-class player that they signed that was world-class the day they signed him. Since Klopp's been there, there ain't one. Van Dijk weren't world-class. Alisson weren't world-class. Yeah, the only world-class player they had there at that time was probably Coutinho, and they weren't signed by Klopp. And then they sold him to then fund Van Dijk and Alisson. He's not signed. Salah was not world-class when he signed from Roma. They've not signed. Mane wasn't world-class when he signed. Yeah, Thiago, okay, fair enough. Thiago you can put in that bracket, but that's one player. One. They haven't had any pool. Yeah, Klopp's a great manager. Let's not, like, Diaz ain't world-class. Come on, man. Raise the bar, people.
I'm reading the comments here. Diaz. Some people are saying Thiago.
Thiago, borderline, yeah. Thiago, if he stays fit, quality, but he can never stay fit. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. We're struggling. Thiago, and people are putting Diaz in. I mean, come on, really? Yeah, one borderline world-class player that they've signed who's never fit since Klopp's been there. They were always, and they've always been, since he's been there, the team that will go and buy the player that's really, really talented that could kick on to become world-class. They've never brought the world-class. And this is what I'm saying. It's very similar to Arsenal. Very similar to Arsenal. Wenger never really brought any world-class players. Yeah, Mesut Ozil, you can put in that bracket. He was world-class at Real Madrid. Didn't really live up to that at Arsenal. Alexis Sanchez, borderline world-class when we signed him. Sol Campbell was probably world-class, but we're going back all these years. My point is, in the last 7 or 8 years of Wenger, Aubameyang you could maybe throw in there and say he was world-class at the time. But it's the same. It's the same at Liverpool. They ain't got no pool.
I think what's interesting is this. We had a few debates on the terrace over the years. Hussam recently said that if Klopp picks up the phone to a player and we've got the money to get an agreement with the club, they do not, other than City, they will say yes to us over everybody else. I've been in hundreds of spaces. I've been in hundreds of spaces where Liverpool fans have said, barring City, and when they were as good as City, they went, because of our history and our heritage and Klopp, we will get picked. We have been waiting, I think, as football fans, to see a scenario where two clubs are legitimately trying to outbid each other for a player, and neither walks away from either deal to see who has the pool. And Liverpool fans are trying to go down this line of, they offered more money than we did. But part of your pool and a law is the ambition and money you're willing to spend. But at the end of the day, Chelsea have proven that right now they are more attractive to these young, super talented players than Liverpool. Plus this summer, whether you rate the players or not, both Amrabat and Mason Mount have said no to Liverpool to want to join Manchester United. Those inquiries have happened, especially Mason Mount. You've got Jude Bellingham, who said no to them. You've had Levi Colwell, who said no to them. There's so many individuals in the last few months that have said no to Liverpool. A year ago, a lot of them are saying yes. But this is why you can't rest on your laurels in the game. In a year, the landscape of football can change. Look at the difference and the view that people have of Arsenal, Man United, and even Chelsea that came 12th right now versus Liverpool compared to just 12 months ago. That is the difference for me when it comes to Liverpool fans must feel so embarrassed, so upset, so angry that between their owners and their manager, they've allowed themselves to fall behind the pecking order of Man United, Arsenal, and Chelsea in the space of the last 18 to 24 months.
I see a mock-up that a Liverpool fan did ages ago. Yeah. And it was Enzo Fernandez, Jude Bellingham, and Caicedo in Liverpool shirts. There you go. How did you pick that up straight away? I didn't even know you were going to do that, by the way. Oh, no, that's hilarious, mate. Can you imagine that three in midfield together, though? That would be insane. But the fact that the levels of delusion, I'm mad.
But
actually mad.
You actually think about Chelsea's middle now. They haven't got Jude, right? But you think they've got two of those guys, Enzo and Caicedo. They've got Lavia in there. And when he's back from injury and Kunku's going to be ahead of them, that midfield is brilliant in the short term and has got the ceiling to be one of the best in the world. What Chelsea have put together is absolutely, I mean this in a nice way, sickening. I feel sick looking at it because it's got everything. It has technical ability, speed, power, athleticism, fitness, and longevity on its side.
Technical ability, ball recovery, passing. It's got everything.
It's mad. It is absolutely
Liverpool also got
crazy.
rejected by Tchouaméni as well.
Yep.
So the amount of decent midfielders that have rejected them in the last 12 months is mental.
But that's where I blame the owners and Klopp collectively. Klopp should have pushed harder. And the ownership, when they were at the peak of their powers, year, 18 months, 2 years ago, that is when you get Tchouaméni.
Sorry to cut you off, Terry. This chat is going mad about Mohamed Salah to Saudi. What's happened? Is this just some idiot on Twitter has made this up, or is this actually a thing? And do you know what's funny? When I did a watch along for the game, right, I sat there, and when he came off, right, and he was getting the ump, I said, yeah, you should have took the Saudi money, bro. Should have took the Saudi money.
Now, okay, let me read this out. So there's a journalist. I don't know who these people are. I'm going to click on their account first. I don't know who they are. There's a this just come from this come from a massive company in Saudi, 1.4 million followers. They claim, and I quote, that Mo Salah has reportedly authorized Saudi Arabian representatives to open negotiations with Liverpool over a potential transfer I repeat, this summer. OMG.
They're finished.
If this happens, Liverpool if Mohamed Salah, if he leaves.
Please go to the same team that Mahrez is in, so we can see them both in the same team. I know they play the same position, but bro, that's my team. Mahrez's team is my team now. And do you know what's crazy, right? I'm going to say this as well. That is the most competitive league in the world right now, Saudi. Every single one of them, I'm not even joking, every single one of them teams is trying to win the league. Me and Henry did a show yesterday, and I said, I didn't know how much it was, I said, Henry, Google it and see how much the prize money is to win the league. 1.2 million.
Wow.
And look how much money they're all trying to spend. Ronaldo beats Al Hilal the other day in the final. The next day, they sign Neymar. Yeah, that's showing ambition. That's saying, no, we're winning it. Then they're getting Benzema there. They got Mahrez there.
I mean, and they've all got the money for it. They've all got the ambition. It's crazy. Look, listen, Liverpool may reject this move. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with the terrace.
Liverpool will not reject that move, mate. Trust me. The amount of money they'll throw at Liverpool, they ain't rejecting it.
If they turn around, but this is also where you got to be. Listen, there's an ebb and a flow here. Mo Salah is still at his best, but in 2 years, 3 years, he probably won't be. If they offered crazy money, if they offered 80, 90, 100 million for him, as long as you have a good replacement lined up, you have to consider it because of his age. It's like, I love Casemiro at Man United, and maybe I wouldn't do this now because all the good DMs have gone. But say this was 5 weeks ago, and someone came in and went 80 million for Casemiro, and we're like, listen, we could go and get Caicedo with that money. Part of you would do it because you think longevity-wise it's there. So there's an upside to this for Liverpool. However, short-term, and with the way they invest, if they lose Mo Salah, I'm having a party. I'm actually going to throw a house party. Everyone's invited. My house. Come pool party.
Terry, apparently Allison's linked as well. I beg the Saudis can come and buy. I'll come to Saudi right now. Just throw me a bag. Throw me the bag. Give me 20 grand a week. I'm there. Like somebody in Saudi, I will commentate on every game. I will learn Arabic right now. Just get me out there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I've just seen this report as well. This has come, the account that shared it, it's a journalist. I don't know who he is. He has said that Alisson Becker is being targeted by Al Nazir, and the Brazilian would be tempted to him. Can you imagine they lose Alisson as well? Honestly, it would
Klopp
be.
Will walk. Klopp will walk, mate. I'm sure of it. It will walk. If he loses Salah, but you know what's funny? I just did a show with Rance, and he said the same not right at Liverpool. And it's true, bro. When I watched that game, you need a goal. You're 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, and you sub Salah off with 20 minutes to go for Doak. That was weird. When Man United were in their pomp, would you ever sub Van Nistelrooy off or Rooney off when you need a goal?
Not when you need yeah, no, never. Unless they were having a stinker and he wasn't.
No, exactly. And the thing is, with Van Nistelrooy, just one decent cross, he's in the box, bang, goal. Yeah, that could be in the 94th minute. So you keep him on. Why are you subbing Salah off when you need a goal? The same not right there, mate. 100%. That sink is sinking. That ship is sinking, mate. Yeah, big time. And it's glorious because they've been so mouthy. Yeah, so mouthy. Wheeling out trophies from 2 seasons and putting them together as one. Like, nah, man, doing a whole light show and all of that during lockdown for all their trophies. Like, get in the bin. I'm here for it. I'm drinking in their tears as we speak. If they lose Mohamed Salah, I'm gonna piss myself.
If they do, like as a Man United fan, it would be. Again, it depends who they've got lined up. But even now, like they've lost out on Lavia. Like, where's the move, Liverpool?
Yeah, but Terry, even if he goes, who is like? Listen, I'm not Salah's biggest fan. We know this, yeah, right? But the level of output he has at Liverpool is ridiculous. Which is why I was like, how are you subbing him when you need a goal? Because I actually thought he played pretty well. Yeah, in the game. So I was baffled when he took him off. But when you need a goal and Chelsea need a goal, that's always going to be end to end. And it was end to end. So you don't take Salah off because at any moment he can cut inside and ping one top corner. He can jink around and get a penalty maybe. So it was weird to take him off. But if he goes, what player in the world are they getting to give him that level of output?
None. No one. The only person in the world that is
Mbappe maybe.
And he ain't going Liverpool.
Exactly.
And again, that's the only way this deal makes sense. Legitimately, the only way this deal makes sense if you sell him, and theoretically, if they've got big money for him, they don't have a DM, but they have 110 million, they bid. If they got 80, 90 million for him, then it's Mbappe or bust. It's the only person that can replace him. I can't think of an attacker.
In terms of output, on the wing, 100%. Yeah, he scores 20-odd goals every season. Even in a bad season, he'll bag 20 in it. So, yeah, mate, this Alisson one's fighting up from what the chat is saying. Right, I will absolutely love it. Even if it's just Salah that goes, that is massive. But if Alisson goes as well,
yeah, absolutely gargantuan if it was to happen. Blaze here says rivals saying Chelsea must. I think it means must win. We agree. Chelsea on their website have cited many times from Poch, James, Reece James, Chilwell, and now Caicedo to win it. Standards high, not Arsenal. Like, I wanted to ask you that about Chelsea. What should their expectations? What do you think are acceptable expectations for this season based on what they've spent and who they have?
Challenge for the title and win a cup. Man, they're playing 1 game a week. Yeah, they've done £1 billion in 12 months. Got a challenge for a title. I can't sit on here every week, Terry, and say Arteta's done 650 million. He should be winning the league. Yeah, and then not say the same for them when they've done more money. And I know it's slightly different because they've done it in a shorter space of time. It's still done the money. We've still got the players now. You've got a manager who's been lauded up as the next great manager. Yeah, he knows the league. We had Tottenham in a Champions League final. We had Tottenham in a title race when Conte won it. You've got a challenge for the title and you've got to win something. Yeah, and if you don't, then it's unacceptable. You can't do all that money and not expect to win anything. And Chelsea fans are trying to downplay it. Oh, they all need time to gel. No, you're playing 1 game a week, mate. 1 game a week. Yeah, you can't sit and have all this pull over Liverpool and then not expect anything from the season other than, we'll just get top 4. Don't work like that. You've done £1 billion.
Yeah, I feel like what's acceptable year 1 for him is getting back into the Champions League, closing the gap on the top and winning a trophy. I think that's what they've got to aim for. Doesn't mean if they don't achieve all of that, you sack him. You know me, I like context on it, but they've got to set the standards high. You can't not, in my opinion. But equally, it's going to take time for him to get these, these young players to settle and everything else as well.
Go toilet quick, yeah?
All right, mate. No worries. Viewers, let us know what you think. Some more super chats here. Come on, the Liverpool hate is unfair. I'm a United fan. It's not Liverpool hate. It's just funny they might lose their best player. Walk like an Egyptian to Saudi Arabia is what Mr. Beehive says here. This comment says, please call out our midfield moving forward. Liverpool, Lavia. That is so funny. Chelsea's midfield is LFC. I'm going to save that one for when Lee gets back. Allison as well. Check that. Yeah, I had a look at that, Dan. That's absolutely crazy news. Arsenal and Liverpool, it's one every 5 years or so. I hear what you're saying there, Dan. Saudis are funding Chelsea through Clearlake. Todd sold them a piece for a return on their investment. Looks like a small play by him. Big up Lee. Look, as long as it's legal, it is what it is. Agree only United, City and Chelsea can buy world-class players regularly, is what Guna Dan says. This super chat says, what's City doing? Saw their fan channels making Olise rice vids. Neither of their players, do they not rate anyone? It's been look, City are going to end up with Paqueta. They're going to end up with Doku as well. So they've got Guardiola. Listen, by the end of the window, City are going to have spent about £250 million on players. So they're going to do some big business. There's no doubt. I want to wait for this one. Look at this one. Please call our midfield moving forward LFC, Lavia Fernandez, Caicedo. LFC. That is actually hilarious.
Hey, they've probably done that on purpose.
Oh, mate, I wouldn't be surprised. This is an interesting comment. It says Klopp has turned into the banter era Wenger.
100%, mate. The way he sits in press conferences, lording up the board, protecting the board, the same as Wenger. Yeah, the way he acts on the touchline is not. It's more dramatic than Wenger. But look at the way he was literally praying. He was on his knees the other day, like when the chance was like running around, jumping around. Like it's just weird, mate. Yeah, he's feeling the pressure, big time. Yeah, and I'll tell you, if the Salah goes, mate, it wouldn't surprise me if he went as well.
I agree. Cries for our 8-year deals. What stops Liverpool doing the same? Well, they can't now because of the new rules, but they could have done it last summer when it first happens. The two chick you brought the drinks, went home with the same guy. Liverpool feeling right now. Yeah, I hear you. I never had that happen to me, but I hear you, man, G. So Lee, you are saying Klopp doesn't have ambition?
No, he don't. If he had ambition, he'd be calling his ownership out. Yeah, look at the way that journalist stuck it on him the other day because of what he said about Pogba signing for United all them years ago. Yeah, we would never spend 100 million on a player. That's not us. We're shopping in a different market. Blah blah blah. And then as soon as they put the bid in for Caicedo, all of a sudden, well, yeah, I must admit, I did. I said that it was a bit hasty. I got it wrong.
The funniest bit is he apologized. And then didn't get a player. Oh no!
Yeah, hilarious, isn't it? No, but this is what I'm saying. That there is a lot of things going wrong at that football club. Yeah, the ownership have flown over to grass Chelsea up because they ain't got no pull. Salah's looking like he's leaving. Klopp's losing the plot. Yeah, and he's sitting there like look at every time a goal goes in, he starts smiling and laughing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's he doesn't look well. Lee Gunner, the Uncle Ruckus for Chelsea, is what Enigma says here. Chelsea will 100% foul and they know it. It's an interesting take. Chelsea fans, do you agree in the comment section? Let me know now. Let Amar know as well. So Jota and Diaz don't put fear into teams. Lee, I can tell you have never kicked a ball in your life. Spoofer.
What's kicking a ball got to do with an opinion based on what I've watched?
Let us know.
I'll give an example. I'll give an example. Yeah. If I was in a wheelchair, for example, from a very young age, and I'd never kicked a ball, and I had the same opinion, like, is that you're going to write the same thing? Just because you haven't kicked a ball, and actually I have, but just because you haven't kicked a ball, don't mean you can't have an opinion on something that you've witnessed and watched. Like, let's be real. Jota's a good player. But I ain't scared of playing Jota, even though he scores against my team every time. Yeah, he's not putting the fear of God into anyone. It's not, oh my God, Jota's playing today. Shit, well, no, my God. Same with Diaz. Diaz ain't scaring me.
No,
but if it's Mbappe, that's scaring me. But Diaz ain't.
I hear you 100%. This here says, sorry, I'll come back to that one in a minute. It says, this transfer window has been crazy. I don't want us to overpay for Caicedo, but worth every penny to see Liverpool in the mud. Bowley is a savage, is what Dan Waters says.
Bro, it's not your money anyway. Just enjoy it. Drink in their tears, mate.
Lee Terry, can you guys explain to me why we have less absolute superstars, stroke elite ballers compared to the 90s and noughties?
Because of many reasons. It gets coached out of them. The money. Loads of reasons. Social media. Hyping up average footballers.
I've got a theory, though, as well. Go back 10, 15 years plus, we didn't have the opportunities because things weren't even available to watch. There was no internet, wasn't like it is. We watch so much football from so many different places so regularly now. I think it takes the allure away. So it's almost like the novelty's worn off. I remember when I used to see Brazil walk out of World Cup. I didn't watch. You only watch Brazil every 4 years. Now people watch Brazil even in qualifying games. You would literally see the best teams in Europe. You'd see some highlights on TV. You'd see them in big Champions League knockout games. Because even on TV, when it was Champions League, they had the English team games on. But unless it was the knockout stage when the English teams were out, they didn't show them like they do now. Now everything's on. I think we watch so much football, almost the enigma of these stars kind of dilutes a little bit because you're so used to seeing them, if that makes sense. I think there's an element of that as well that all plays a part. It's a really good question, bro. This say here, Chelsea have done well with their signings, but it's also risky. If a player on a 10-year contract ain't good, the contracts are amazing for the players, though. They are, but they're also quite low in terms of salary. Like the sort of 120s, 130s, where equivalent players going to clubs on smaller contracts are being paid 250, 300. So it's easier to sell. It's why Maguire's deal might be off because he's only been offered 100 grand a week at West Ham. He's on 200 grand a week here. Only. He's owed 15 million and he wants at least 7 million payout from Man United. And Man United so far have said no, so the deal stalled. The point is that won't happen at Chelsea because other clubs, even if they're not quite good enough for Chelsea, will pretty much match their salary. So you've got to research these deals before they're criticised, in my personal opinion. Lee, but you said on the last stream you want Klopp.
Yeah, I'll take Klopp. That mean that he's gone stale, and it don't mean that he's got no ambition because he ain't got no ambition at all. Yeah, but now put Klopp at Arsenal, new challenge. Yeah, we see this with Dortmund. He had Dortmund in relegation battle for half a season before he got it sorted and got him up the table. Yeah, 7 years later, and then he goes to Liverpool. He's doing exactly the same. They're not relegation battle, but they're falling way, way off. Yeah, he needs a new challenge. Yeah, get him out of there.
I hear that. Nathaniel here says, quick question. Who do you think has won the transfer window so far?
Probably Brighton. Not that they're going to spend any of it, but there you go.
By the way, you've got to go and watch the Burnley documentary that's out with Vincent Kompany.
The Burnley one. Where is this?
It's on Sky, but I'm sure there's other platforms you could watch it.
I don't get it. They don't do Sky out here, mate.
Yeah, but what I mean is
because they waffle on Sky, so they don't allow it in this country.
Yeah, no, but I think there must be another way you can watch it, and then we'll have a conversation about the way small clubs spend and how they have to generate money. There's a really interesting bit where Vincent Kompany speaks to their board and says, "Look, you're never going to generate enough income for us to keep growing and getting better unless we buy quality young players, get the best out of them for a year or two, and we sell them for a profit, and then we slowly increase our revenue." It's very interesting for how it has to work because you actually get revealed this sort of stuff. And it shows why the tiny clubs can't just go out and spend big money. They have to buy young, sell, and keep kind of doing this to keep progressing. It's really interesting.
No, I will watch it. I wanted to. You just made me remember a point. Luton and how much for getting promoted?
It's worth like 150 million.
How much did they spend this summer?
Don't know. I didn't even look.
24 million. And that's my point. Yeah, they should be relegated anyway because they ain't got a stadium adequate enough to fill the games. So it should have just been kicked back out. I'm not even taking the piss. They had to have their game against Burnley called off because they can't get it. You can't play the game there. So they shouldn't even be it.
No,
when you've got 120 million and you've only spent 24 million of it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the
man,
reason
you're not showing any ambition to try and stay in this league. They want the parachute payment for getting relegated to then try and come back up. By which time their new stadium will be ready and they can have another go. Well, sorry. No, not for me. And that's why I get the ump teams like that. Because Nottingham Forest showed last season, have a bit of ambition, go and buy a load of players, go and do all of the money that you got for coming up. And if it all goes sideways, you go and sell the players and you balance it that way.
But what
you stay in the league, and he did.
But what Forest have different is they have an owner with far greater, deeper pockets than the Luton owner. So if they invest and it goes wrong and there's a financial black hole, he can fill it. If you don't have an owner that can fill that hole, you can't take that risk, because what you do is you risk doing a Rangers or a Bury or a Portsmouth and the club almost going out of business. So you have to. I get where you're coming from, but you have to get the balance right. But I'll take a look at Luton. I haven't looked at it deep enough to have a real opinion on it.
Ross Barkley's there now.
Sorry,
Ross Barkley plays for Luton now.
Yeah, I thought he retired until I saw his
So
name
did
come
I.
up. It's crazy. Liverpool couldn't pull a £5 streetwalker. Damn. That's a bit harsh. We're gonna come back to some of your super chat. I'm trying to make sure any of these super chats are about what we're talking about here. Lee, would you rather have David Moyes or Arteta?
Hey, they're both on the same amount of trophies and had the job the same amount of time.
Oh, no, you're triggering. Liverpool have serious pull. I don't know why you guys can't see how everyone wants to play for Liverpool except the guys who Liverpool want have rejected. I love that. In terms of Paul, maybe a bit unnecessary to compare the pool of Real Madrid and Liverpool for Tchouaméni and Jude Bellingham deals. Clubs don't hold a candle for Real's pool. No, I understand that for those guys, but it's still part of what you've been rejected for. But the others, every Liverpool fan worth their salt would say to you, players would reject Chelsea for us, Arsenal for us, and probably where Man United are for us. This summer, it hasn't happened, and there's been so many they've wanted and been told no to. It's unbelievable, and it's fine when it's one or two. You can go and buy somebody else. But let's see who if they end up with someone like Tyler Adams, they're in big trouble. There's no doubt about it. Stu Buck here says won't win it. Will scare the life out of some though. Yeah, I don't think you'll win the league this year, but I think you'll definitely be on your way back to genuinely competing. I wanted to ask viewers, make sure you stay with us. Make sure you hit the like and the share buttons. We're going to talk a bit about Arsenal now as well. There's lots more super chats to do as well. We'll come back to them in a little bit. There's talks now that you guys might be in for Laporte, or you like the idea of Laporte since Timber is out injured. Is that a deal that you would support to replace Timber, or do you think you already have a replacement in Kieran Tierney at Arsenal already?
I don't want Laporte. I said this to you a couple of weeks back. I don't want any City players, right, apart from Haaland. We'll take Haaland. I don't want any of their players. Yeah, he's out of favour for Pep, so why do I want him? We're trying to overtake Pep. Like, if Pep don't want him and is allowing him to go, why should we want him? Yeah, and it was the same with Mahrez. I even sat here and said it. If Mahrez is available, I still don't want him. And you know how much I love him. Yeah. At the end of the day, Terry, yeah, it was stupid playing Timber at left back in the first place. He's never played left back in his career. So why are we dropping players to play him at left back? Made no sense. And I'm not saying that's the reason he got injured, because it ain't. But when you're playing in an unnatural position, you do unnatural things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you? I've seen a few Arsenal fans blame the manager because he got hurt in the first half and they let him come out in the second.
Threw him back on, yeah.
Do you share that opinion?
Yeah, 100%. But he's got a track record. He's done it before. He's done it with Jesus. He's done it with Thomas Partey. Yeah, remember we played Tottenham. Tottenham were breaking away. Thomas Partey, I think, done a hamstring. Yeah, and he threw him back on the pitch and then Son scored. Like, he was trying to chase Son with a hamstring snapped. Like, come on. Like, mate, this like, when I looked at that starting 11 at the weekend, I was fuming. Thomas Partey at right back. Ben White at centre back. Well, that went well the first season he was here, didn't it? Brilliant at right back, but so you're now going to move a brilliant right back last season into centre back, put Thomas Partey at right back, move Saliba to left centre back, and play Timber for the first time ever in his life at left back in a league game. Nah, man. That was prime Arteta from the first full season. Didn't know his best 11, throwing players into different positions that had never tried it before. Played Odegaard as a right CM, playing Declan Rice as a 6 when we thought we were getting him for an 8. and then putting Kai Havertz at left mid. No wonder we look crap. Like, real talk. I don't want Laporte anywhere near Arsenal. Yeah, I don't want him anywhere near Arsenal. At the end of the day, yeah, Kieran Tierney, I wish that guy all the best. I hope he leaves. Yeah, I hope he leaves. And even if they beg him to stay, I hope he says bollocks. Yeah, I hope he says no. I hope he comes to Spain. He's linked to Sociedad. So hopefully he comes here and I can go and get a couple of games in. Yeah, or he goes Newcastle. I've seen so many people doing podcasts in the last couple of days saying, oh, yeah, well, the city's not in favour. We've got Tomiyasu, we've got Kivior. Like, we don't need Tierney. But then I hope he don't go Newcastle. Why? You don't need him. Oh, yeah, but he'll do all right in Newcastle. Well, make your mind up. Is he any good or not? Yeah, just because he doesn't invert does not mean he can't be good. Yeah, but this is where we are with football now. It's all about the hipsters, the inverted, hybrids. Like, no, not for me, mate. Like, Kieran Tierney should be one of the first names on the team sheet. The guy can actually defend. Yeah, and there's not many defenders in the league that can actually defend, especially in the fullback positions. Yeah, most of them are crap. Yeah, he can also get forward, but he don't want to play him. He's now playing a guy who's never played left back in his life at left back over him. He weren't even in the squad, Tierney. He's played Kivior in pre-season over him. He's played Tomiyasu over him. If I'm Kieran Tierney, I'm saying, hold on, mate. I've won more than all of this lot combined. Yeah? Oh, yeah, but it's the Scottish League. Well, you still got to win it. Still got to win it. And we had this conversation last week. It's still on par. Yes, Rangers and Celtic are still the best two teams, but you still have to physically go out there week in, week out and do it. Yeah, not every single player is on your level. Kieran Tierney was one of the best players in the Celtic team. That's why he got the move. The rest of them ain't that great. Hence why they're still there. But you still have to go out and do it. And at the end of the day, the disrespect for this player is just mad. Not just from our fan base, who, let's be real, Tierney at the back, Gabby in attack, run away to Champions League. They've forgotten that one real quick, haven't they? Yeah? Forgotten that one quick, isn't it? But not just from our fans, but from our manager. How dare you have a guy that's won pretty much everything apart from Champions League, but he's won trebles. He's won an FA Cup, and started that game, which Bukayo Saka didn't, by the way. Just saying. Yeah, actually had a big impact in us winning that Champions League, finally, that FA Cup. And the disrespect from that manager to play Kivior, Timber, Tomiyasu and Zinchenko over him. Nah, man, if I'm Tierney, leave. Laporte, sorry, you might be half decent. Don't want you. Go Villa, mate.
There's a few super chats here. First one says, first half, Timber hurt his left leg. The ACL was on his right knee, not his left leg.
Well, so he just happened to just walk out and snap his ACL. Like, who put that out there originally? Was it one of the super fans? Like, how do we know this? Like, is this true or is this just a made-up thing? And either way,
I think they're saying that he was holding his left leg when he got hurt in the first half, but then it was his right leg that went.
So then that snapped his ACL in the second half within 3 minutes. Makes no sense. So he's just walked back out on the football pitch, jogged around a little bit and snapped the ACL just like that. But it's on the leg that weren't injured. Like, come on, do me a favour. Some of this fan fiction is crazy, mate. Right, all of these fantasy storylines and all of this, mate. Yeah, at the end of the day, I sat there on that watch along and I said, right, he looks effed. Get him off. I don't want to see him in the second half. Yeah, he comes back out in the second half and now he's out for 4 months. Minimum.
Yeah, probably going to be longer.
And if we just kept him off, it might not have been 4 months. Because if that story is true, and I don't know if it's true, but if that story is true, then he's come back out and he's done his ACL on the opposite leg to what he got injured on. But if you're just taking him off, he wouldn't have done it then, right? Makes no sense.
Plaza here says, I'm not Arteta out, but his stubbornness is starting to get on my nerves, is what Plaza Fam 12
Welcome
says.
to my world, my friend. This season's a mad wake-up call for every single one of these idiots that's been chatting rubbish to me for 4 years.
Timber has played left back, but he is a natural right centre back. Right back is what Brian says here. Tech says Arteta. He says Arteta is trying to make a malleable squad where players can fill in everywhere and not be rigid. Lee just hates the new-fangled football world.
100%. Play a left back at left back, play a right back at right back, play a striker at striker, play a number 10 at number 10, play a right winger at right wing, and so on and so forth. It is a simple game complicated by these hipsters. Yeah? And at the end of the day, one, if not both of these two hipsters that everyone's buzzing about Xavi and Arteta is getting sacked this season. Yeah, I'll see the highlights of Barca's game. Oh my days, they're awful. I see him against Tottenham. They are awful. He's getting sacked, regardless of whether he won a title last season. Yeah, and Arteta's the same. He's either getting sacked or he's leaving at the end of the season. So, sorry, mate. I don't deal with all this inverted crap. Play the best players in their right positions. That's it.
Right here says, Lee Gunner, I've been telling Gooners in my WhatsApp groups and at work, and when I go to Arsenal games at the Emirates, that's the whole inverted style is overrated. Tierney, for me, is better than Zinchenko, is what Re26 says.
Big up, bro.
Lee, I thought you don't get attached to players.
I don't get attached to players. I want Kieran Tierney to leave. What are you talking about? If I was attached to players, I'd be like, no, please stay. Please stay. I couldn't care less. Leave. I want him to leave because the disrespect, at that club is a joke. Yeah, and it's not just him it happens to. It happens to other players as well, by the way, at our football club. Yeah, the disrespect, the man management is in the gutter. Gabriel Magalhaes dropped at the weekend for what? I'm not his biggest fan, Terry, but I've sat on here many, many times since Christmas and said he's been our best centre-back since Christmas. And he was dropped for tactical reasons. What tactical reasons? What are you waffling about tactical reasons? You've just dropped one of the best partnerships in the Premier League last season for tactical reasons. So, and this was all to incorporate Kai Havertz. Good luck, mate, because he's dying on that sword this year.
Well, Kevin here says, how dare Pep drop Cancelo and Kyle Walker after all they have done for their club as well, mate? This isn't a Disney movie. I'm happy Arteta is cutthroat.
How dare Pep drop Cancelo and Kyle Walker after all they've done? Hey, you're talking about a guy who's just won a treble, so it worked. I'm comparing him to a guy, who literally nosed up everything last season. Again, after doing it the season before and the season before. 3 full seasons in a row, the guy's won nothing, and you're comparing it to Pep. Jesus Christ on a bike.
This here says, Lee, yes, athletes get injured randomly. He hurt his left leg in the first half and then hurt his right knee in the second half. Not difficult to get.
Cool. Maybe if he'd played in his right position, he wouldn't have been in that area of the pitch to even do that. Because it's unnatural to him, not playing at right back, isn't it? Playing at left back is unnatural to him. So maybe if he hadn't have played him at left back, might have still been fit right now.
Donny's back again. Says, kicking a ball in your back garden doesn't count. Explain me with your ball knowledge what Jota and Diaz lack that doesn't fear.
Okay, mate. Yeah, you worry about your team, mate. I'm calm. Yeah, you worry about the capitulation of your fan base when Mohamed Salah dumps you after signing $400,000 a week contract and goes to Saudi. Yeah, you just worry about Liverpool, mate.
Lee, you're wrong. There's no reason why Alisson can't be the Golden Boot winner. Like that. Put too much weight on his ACL leg to compensate the pain is what Gavin said. That's why he hurt it.
So yeah, maybe that's why he shouldn't have come out in the second half then, because if he was compensating the pain.
I hear you. Hi Terry, I appreciate your content, but as a Pool fan, I am so dejected right now. At this rate, we might not make top 4. Bro, if you lose Salah and Alisson, you ain't making top 6. You're going to have a terrible season without those boys.
Be finished. They'll be finished. Even if they just lose Salah, they're finished.
Yeah. Lee, do you think that we have any chance of winning, competing for the league this season? If not, where do you think we need to improve? That's from a Chelsea fan.
Big up Roman Abramovich, man. Look, he's tuning into the show, Tel.
Oh, I know, bruv. I know. Love it.
And he's still calling them we. Do you know what I mean? He loves the club.
Loves that club.
You should be competing for the league. Yeah, you should be. And you do need to win something. And you need a striker. Jackson looked all right, but he ain't bagging you 20 goals.
No, I agree. Arteta will put Jesus in goal for versatility. Arteta has disrespected Tierney to such a point that even though I want him to stay for his own pride as a man, he has to leave. His arrogance stinks, and I've been Arteta out for 3 seasons now. Top show, 100%. Thank you, Ree. I appreciate that super chat. If Arteta told top gooners to pull their pants and underwear down and sit on a pine cone, they would do it.
Mate, do you know what I find amazing about our fan base? Literally, the levels of delusion about Kai Havertz. Terry, I've watched so many little clips of streams that get sent to me Yeah, or just I logged onto one the other night. I loaded up YouTube and there was like, I'm not going to say the channel, but it was, yeah, but you know, we just got to back him. Like if Arteta wants him, we want him, and we just got to go. And that super chat you just read out is spot on. If Arteta tells you to jump off a cliff, are you jumping off a cliff? Half of them probably will because they're lemmings.
Jay here says there's a reason why you're a YouTuber and Arteta is a manager, and it almost feels like you want to wait for us to foul. So you're right.
No, that old line again. Let's get the violins out. Oh, you want us to foul, mate? He's doing a good job of that himself. 3 years in a row with no trophies, longest in a decade. Yeah, turn it in.
Memphis here says the best Arsenal fan in the house. To you, Lee.
Come on, see, look at that. One naughty one and one decent one.
Omar here says, Lee, we got the same issues with top reds like Terry. They rate players like trashy. Remember how they said they wouldn't get Neymar because we've got trash. Well, I didn't say that. I did not say that. That's what so you can call me out, but you can't lie on my name. What I said, the only reason, and Lee will back me on this, I wouldn't spend the money on Neymar is because he on average starts 16 games per season. His injury record was it. Yeah, I said he was a country mile ahead of Rashford. And I've said, if we can sign better than Rashford on the left, I don't care if he's on the bench. So I'm not a top red who protects my players. Watch my match reaction last night.
You did actually say that about Neymar's games, yeah.
Yeah, I went in on Man United last night and criticised everybody. So
well, we've got fans in our fan base saying they wouldn't take Mbappe because he'll hinder Martinelli. Yeah, or he'll upset the dressing room. Like, and the way they talk about our manager, it's like, oh yeah, but who are you going to get if you get rid of him? Well, God forbid he don't leave then, because he thought about it this summer. So let's hope he stays at Arsenal lifetime contract, mate, until he's 94 or something. Yeah, because if he leaves, we're finished, right?
And there are certain players who somebody would say X, Y, and Z is technically better than Bruno, and I'm like, great, then let's sign him. But he has to. There's no point in him being technically better if the amount of goals and chances we score and create reduces, because I don't want it to look better if it isn't better in reality. That's all I ever say to people. Like, if you think somebody's better and they can score and assist as many goals, then great. But I don't want someone to look better but not be better. I want someone to be better in terms of performing for my team. I'm not attached. I love some of these players, but I'm attached to Man United, not the individual. So I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm definitely not a top red in my personal opinion. In fact, all the top reds hate me, because I call out their Glazer hypocrisy all the time.
Yeah, the stadium was full again last night.
I know.
Don't worry, man. Another couple of performances like that, they're back out the Norwich scarves.
Oh, mate. See, for me, win, lose, or draw, until the Glazers leave, I'm Glazer out. It is what it is. Havertz will be the next Bergkamp. This guy is waffling.
Good one, mate. So that's Bergkamp, Van Persie, and Kaká. Duly noted. Yep, duly noted.
I think Top Gooner is trolling. I think he's on your side. Same as our fan base nowadays, Lee. Eric Ten Hag wants him.
Ten Hag wants him. I want him.
And this is the thing. So
what is this?
This is. But I think there's a balance in all of this. So I didn't want Mount. However, I have turned around and said I'm going to give him time. I'm going to wait and see what happens. I mean, last night was horrendous, and I've criticised it. But do you know what really annoyed me about last night? Is how, not the top reds, but how like the tacticos are all turning on Casemiro. He got exposed and overrun. I'm like, yeah, he did. But this is what happens in life. You're focusing on a symptom rather than the root cause. So if I have a headache because I have a brain tumor, you don't just give me paracetamol, because that's going to get rid of the headache in the short term, but it isn't going to fix the problem. And I've got a graphic here. This was Man United's average position during attacks yesterday, right? Look at this. Look where the team left Casemiro if we lost the ball. this for me. And the thing is, some people have blamed Ten Hag tactics, and I respect that. I'm blaming the individual players based on what they have said after the game, what the manager has said. The fullbacks should have been more inverted, and one of either Bruno or Mount can't be pushing up ahead as well, because if you lose the ball, as they did as they were sloppy, you're exposing Casemiro to taking on 5 players at once. Yes, he was exposed last night, but he was exposed because he was left vulnerable. And by the way, if you left Rodri or Caicedo or Partey in that same position, they also get overrun because you just pass the ball around him. And yeah, listen, so again, I agree with you. There was some problems in the way we played last night.
Casemiro's a one-man midfield this season, mate. Yeah, with Bruno and Mount in that team together, that ain't ever working.
Bro, listen, I saw it last night and I'm like, look, it might work with against other teams. Maybe there's got to be an adaptation. I am screaming. And there's a comment that came in earlier about it. I am screaming for Amrabat to come in. He's what's needed. He is what's needed. And you said it earlier, and I think you're right to a certain degree. I don't mind the inverted fullbacks, but I think you've got to still play, because I thought Partey did quite well going into that area. When teams are sitting back against you, you don't need an out-and-out right back. But Amrabat is needed in the middle. We need his ability on the ball, his ability to drive, but his ability to help protect. We needed that yesterday. We just, honestly, it was like we're being run through like diarrhea, bruv. It was a madness yesterday. It was so bad. But I agree with that super chat. You shouldn't just say, well, I'm backing it because the manager wants it. You can have an element of, you can say, I'm not sure about a player. I don't rate him, but I'm going to give him 5, 10, 15 games because I trust my manager. There's a difference in that and saying, no, you can't criticize him at all because the manager wants him. And I think you can have balance on those circumstances, but that's just my opinion. Mason Mount is 007, 0 goals, 0 assists. He's had one appearance. Let's not get silly. He's had one appearance so far in a Man United shirt. But he was, do you know, I read this. Do you know he only attempted 21 passes in the whole game?
He was awful. Number 7 shirt as well.
He was
best turning in his grave.
I was about to say, no, he's still alive. No, he's dead, George Best. I don't know why I thought he wasn't for a second. We've already got proof of Havertz. I hope he has a good season, but he's not it. I still don't understand what Arteta saw in bringing him in.
Yeah, we've had a 3-year sample size. Oh, but everyone was rubbish at Chelsea last season. Well, was Chelsea founded last season? He's been there 3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
No, mate, listen, I hear what you're saying. I got question marks over both him and Mount. I actually think both of them shouldn't be starting games. I feel like I thought he weren't that bad the other day, Kai Havertz. Not in comparison to Mount, right?
Oh, no, he was awful, Terry. He was awful.
You thought Kai Havertz was awful? So I didn't think he was that awful. I didn't think he was that bad for you guys. I hear you, though. But I think both of us lacking in confidence as well and should be starting on the bench. Who wins the Champions League first, Arsenal or Newcastle?
Neither of them. Neither of them win it.
Interesting.
Not in my lifetime, anyway. Not unless we get a Qatari turn up or a Saudi.
Terry, are you Ten Hag out if he keeps that free midfield 3? No, I'm Ten Hag out if we keep performing like that and we regress. If he picks that midfield and we deliver, if it clicks into gear, I don't care who the players are. I never care who plays. I just want to win. If we have to, it's the performances I'm focusing on rather than the personnel. Again, the personnel could be a problem, but I'm focusing on the performances. That is what would make me want the manager out. But if you watch my match reaction last night, far harsher on the team for performances because we're going into year 2. My expectations are higher. It's year 2, but I've got standards to get back to winning everything. So in year 2, I expect us to be better than in year 1. Therefore, my criticism is going to be harsher. Terry and Lee, United were lucky. Wolves should have got a penalty last night, right?
All day long. I think the officials for that game have been dropped for this weekend.
Yes, yeah. They admitted after the game they made a mistake. It was horrendous, and
Wolves but that help Wolves, does it?
No, it doesn't. What I was saying
is the thing, like, who was it in the VAR room that decided that ain't a penalty? Because he literally came flying out, clattered the geezer. Yeah, and it's the same with the Tottenham game. Yeah, the Brentford one at the weekend. That goalkeeper come running out off his line. The geezer dinks the ball over the bar, and he got clattered. That's a pen.
Yeah,
they didn't even VAR. Well, they probably did. But they didn't put it on the screen.
In fairness, that also happened in the second half to Anthony. Anthony got caught like that by the goalkeeper when Sarr came rushing out, and they need to look at these. It should have been a penalty, no doubt about it. They were robbed.
That's a foul.
They were robbed of that goal. The Man United fan in me says, well, we had 4 or 5 of them bad boys last year and no one cared. They all just said, ha, ha, ha. So there's an element of me that feels like that. But yeah, Wolves definitely deserved a penalty. This here says, Arsenal spend a ton of money but get hate. Chelsea do it and they're a top club. Make it make sense. Put it this way, Arsenal are way ahead of Chelsea.
In what sense? Way ahead
they
in
were
what
last
sense?
year.
Yeah, it was last year. We both won nothing. We both ended up doing exactly the same. Nothing. You either win or you lose. Man City won. Everyone else lost. Pretty simple, isn't it? It's a simple game. You either win or you lose.
Gavin here says, overspending, long contracts and 12th, good owners, having a pop at Chelsea. Three strike policies for refs. I think that's a good idea. If refs make that level of mistake 3 times in a season, maybe not sacks because they earn a living. They don't earn millions, but maybe demoted to the league below. Like they keep getting demoted like that. Maybe.
What was the ref's name?
I can't remember his name. I don't ever focus on that. I don't remember his name. Someone in the comments will tell us. Ten Hag was right. Liverpool's era is done. City's next. We might not be the ones that overtake it though, but yeah, that'd be nice. This here says bring Neto to Arsenal. Yeah, Neto was good last night.
Baller, mate. My baller. Love that bloke, man. Sick footballer. Yeah, just injury prone. That's the problem.
And very little end product. He should have scored. That's the one thing I'd say about Wolves.
He should have scored. He should have scored.
They should have scored 3 or 4 goals. Like that isn't on Man United that they fluffed their chances. But
the chance that he had, it was caught under his foot. If he takes one more touch out from his foot, he puts that top corner.
Yeah. Having said that, after all that, we got the 3 points. Way.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Lee, wrong. Chelsea doing better than Liverpool signings. I don't know what that means.
No, neither do I.
Where is your apology to Mike? Ten Hag is a fraud, but I don't think he's a fraud. We had a bad performance and we won last night. Why am I going to apologize? I'm not going to apologize.
I love that bloke, by the way. He rattles your whole fan base.
You know what? I've got to a point in the last year. Because I do not believe he's a Man United fan, and that's why I find him funny. I just don't believe he's like there's another one. There's 2 or 3 other accounts like his that also pretend to be United fans, but they were stupid. They didn't delete old tweets. You can clearly tell from the old tweets they support other clubs. But yeah, he's hilarious.
I think he's a United fan. I just think that he's just not buying into crap. Like at the end of the day, when he talks about the Glazers, yeah, people go, but you can't just empty the stadium. And I remember a tweet about a couple, and then he shows AC Milan stadium empty.
So he's right about some of the things he says. I agree with, but this is the crazy thing. Like, did you think Ronaldo was good at Man United? I remember you slagging him off, right?
I don't think he was good at all, but I know he does.
Yeah. So this is my point. Like, there's things I agree with him on, there's things I don't agree with him on, and that's absolutely fair. But sometimes he just goes like, when the manager will say things like, "Yeah, we think so and so's got a future at the club," and we sell him and go, "See, he lied to us." It's like that's not lying. That's professionalism. That's where it makes me laugh. But anyway, Lee, do you think? Yeah,
it's lying. Harry Maguire has a future at the club. Well, that's a barefaced lie.
But he does if he's willing to be 4th choice.
No, he has no future at that club, Terry. Come on.
He is if he's willing to be 4th choice. Lee, do you think Newcastle can challenge for the title if they buy Tierney? I think that and another right centre back to compete.
100%. If they get Tierney, they're favourites for the league, mate. Best left back on the planet. But they won't win the Champions League. They won't win that.
Unpopular opinion: Thiago Silva is better than VVD.
How's that unpopular?
I think he's had a better career, definitely.
How's that unpopular?
Who would you sign now, Lee? VVD or Silva?
I'd take Thiago Silva, yeah.
I think I would as well, you know.
Mate, he's always been better than Van Dijk's been good, very good. But yeah, Thiago Silva's different, man. Such a sick footballer.
This here says, Lee, top Reds are saying 60 minutes, are staying 60 minutes after the game versus Forest. Why would the Glazers care? They already paid for the tickets. They're all liberal. Yeah, mate, listen, I agree with you. It's the dumbest protest ever. We're going to buy tickets, buy food, buy programs, go to the megastore, and then afterwards moan about the people that we've just given millions of pounds to. It's stupid.
The only way you get them Glazers out, right, is just not turn up for the home game. Literally do it en masse. Yeah. And if there's literally just 2,000 people in the ground, we had it with Wenger. We lost the League Cup final to Man City. 4 days later, on a Thursday night, we played Man City at the Emirates. And it was snowing, it was freezing, it was so cold. Yeah, and literally 20,000 fans were there. And then Silva put them 2-0 up in 20 minutes, and 10K walked out. The stadium was dead.
I know.
Yeah? And guess what? About 2-3 weeks later, he announced he was going. Come on, you can get him out. I know that's a manager and not an owner, but you can do exactly the same with the ownership.
Tony here says, Lee, I hate listening to you, but I can't stop. Help. Love it. Love it. What didn't help yesterday is the amount of times our wingers refused to run at defenders and pass the ball backwards. So, no, actually, I disagree. Anthony, yes. Garnacho tried it, just didn't come off for him on the night. He had a stinker. An absolute.
He just runs in straight lines.
An absolute stinker. But he tried to. But yeah, it was everything. It was first touches of all our players. So we'd win the ball back in nice areas, pass it into the right area, and the first touch was like an elephant trying to collect it, and they'd win the ball off of us. We were just not sharp. We looked. Someone here says, "Why do we always start poorly?" We didn't look sharp. We actually looked nervous, and Wolves came into the game with nothing to lose and went for it, and they were very unlucky not to win. Who are the top 3 supported teams in England in 2050? Wow. Probably Man United will still be one of the most supported by then. Liverpool will be, and Arsenal will be. Simple as that. I don't think Chelsea might catch if they start winning again for another 20, 30 years. Chelsea maybe. I don't think City will be. They haven't had enough growth in the last 15 years for me to think in the next 25 they'll overtake those clubs.
Putting it just to England is kind of, because it'll be passed down through generation with a lot of people. Internationally, it's a different story.
Yeah, of course, yeah. What do you think with a player who has a 10-year contract and has a very serious injury like Diaby? Because that's very possible. It is, but how many Diabys of clubs actually had where they're literally injured for 6-7 years? It's rare. So again, it might happen to one. Abu Diaby, yeah.
Bro, we gave him a 5-year contract when he was injured. He was injured for about 4 years in a row, literally injured for 4 years in a row. And Wenger went, "There's another 5 years, mate."
Yeah, crazy.
That's mad.
Same with our fan base nowadays. Ten Hag wants. Already done that one there. We've still got 21 super chats to get through. It's crazy. You lot are so generous, and I love you all very, very much. But let's hit the like buttons and get this up to 2,000 likes while we're live. After the press interview, Arteta said Timber felt okay and wanted to continue, was cleared by the medical team and was okay to continue.
Still would have took him off. Literally 4 minutes in, he's out. That went well then. Sacked the medical team.
Lee,
literally within 4 minutes of going back on that pitch, he's now out for about 4 months.
Lee, who's the better manager, Ten Hag or Arteta, and why?
I'd say Arteta right now. And why? Because that's a hard question, but I don't even know why. No, I don't even know. I can't even give you I'd say Arteta, just purely based on the fact that our football last season was a lot better than Ten Hag's. But having said that, that was his first season as manager, and he did win a trophy, the same as Arteta did. So I don't know. That it's a much of a muchness. They've both got mad deficiencies.
Why our transfer shop is Man City all the time, right? The Wolves kid, Cunha, he was a beast against Man United, 52 minutes of still. Yeah, but he's not a goal scorer. He's not a prolific goal scorer. And the thing is, it's okay having all those attributes, but if you're not going to score goals, that's why he's at Wolves and he's not at a top club anymore, in my personal opinion. Arteta is trying to find ways to squeeze everything out of this squad to win. He got called stubborn and predictable, but now this year he's trying to do too much. He's showing ambition and bravery, in my opinion, is what Jay says.
Fantastic. He better deliver then, because if you want to keep changing the team around, then cool, you better make it work. Yeah, and I'll tell you now, we ain't finishing second this season. Ain't happening.
Jay says to you here, if you hate the club, just stop watching.
No. I'll keep striving for my club to do what they smashed Highbury down for, mate, which was probably before you were born.
Kevin here said, Arteta drops players and he's disrespectful. Pep does it and it's fine because that's what winners do. Got it.
I swear, these people, mate, it's hilarious. You're comparing Arteta to a guy who has just won a treble. Arteta bottled a treble of cups last season. Pep won the treble. How are you comparing that? When Arteta's got the track record of Pep, then we can have the conversation. Until then, how is that a comparison?
Can I ask a question, though? Should the principles not be the same? So if a winner is allowed to drop players because he thinks that he can improve the team, why is Arteta not allowed to do it? Because last year, Tierney was dropped and it was your best league performance in many, many years. So, and if you keep progressing and you win trophies, the point I'm making is if you win a trophy this year, maybe if you win the league this year, some people are predicting you to, would you then come back and say, I was wrong about the dropping of Tierney and players I like because it's led us to be winners? The point I'm making is you never know until later down the line whether it's the right decision or not. Because last year, last year when Cancelo was dropped, some people were criticizing it and he went on to win a treble from it. Arteta's dropping people, and rather than waiting to see how it pans out, you're saying it's wrong, as opposed to...
No, it is wrong, Terry. You're playing somebody at left back who's never played left back. And you're starting him at left back in the first Premier League game when you have left backs.
But Timber was
right
brilliant.
But
Timber was brilliant. But Timber was brilliant against City in the Community Shield. Brilliant.
Yeah, well done. Whoopie-doo. Yeah, whoopie-doo. Fantastic. Yeah, at the end of the day, Thomas Partey playing at right back. Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. How did he come to that conclusion that, I'll actually play Thomas Partey? Did he watch Caicedo get man of the match at the Emirates last season playing right back? I know. I'll do that. Like at the end of the day, when you have a squad that is as good as Man City's, you can afford to drop Kevin De Bruyne. You can afford to drop Mahrez. You can afford to drop Kyle Walker. You can afford to get rid of Cancelo and send him on loan. Yeah, when you've got Arsenal's squad, you've got to be playing your best players every week. Especially, by the way, when you throw away 3 cups last season. Yeah, Pep wasn't in only one competition. He was competing for all of them. We didn't. We threw the League Cup away at the first attempt. We threw the FA Cup away at the second attempt. And we threw the Europa League away at the Emirates by putting a reserve team out in the second leg. And our goalkeeper getting done from the halfway line. So when Pep's going for 3-4 competitions every season, you can drop players. When we're not bothering and we just want to go for one because we can't compete on all fronts, you can't be dropping your best players and shuffling them around. It makes no sense. You play your best players.
Ty says, don't understand the Cass criticism. Casemiro was in a 1 versus 5 for 97 minutes due to the midfield being non-existent. No, I agree. I think it was a weird agenda I saw last night. I understand he's not the best passer in the world. I get that. But that hasn't changed since he was brilliant for us and everyone loved him last year. It's the team tried something new and it didn't work, and it's back to the drawing board. Let's find a new way. Lee, I understand your frustration, but Arteta has made progress in 3 straight years. 8th twice, 5th and 2nd. That's 3.5 years a body of work. Arsenal will either win the league or come 2nd this season.
So what you're saying from that is we've made progress by going 8th, 5th, 2nd.
And this year he thinks you'll win it.
Or come 2nd. So if he doesn't win it, then it's not progress then, right? Because we've equaled what we did last season. So in progress, we stagnated. So he has to win it then. Yeah, because if you're talking about progress and you want to go down the progress route, the only way to progress from last season is win it. Otherwise, we're stagnated. Yeah, not only that, you haven't mentioned any trophy in there. He won the FA Cup, cool. But in the 3 full seasons he's been here, he's thrown them all in the bin, Terry, and won nothing. Yeah, I don't understand why people are so on this guy, mate. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. He's literally bottled everything for 3 years.
Yeah. Victoria here. Vic says, some of these fans are delusional. This coming from a Leeds fan or Leeds. Arteta is better because he's had longer to implement a team. Love you both, is what Vic says. Big up, Vic. Hope you are well and good. Terry, would you rather 5 million or United win the league? £5 million. I'd rather take care of my children than a football club win a league. Yeah, like £5 million so that my kids have and my grandchildren, not that I've got grandkids yet, have the greatest futures possible. Yes, I'm doing that because again, I love Man United loads, but not more than my children. Liverpool bigger than Arsenal, but Arsenal spend more money. Why? FFG skinflints, waste men. Champions League, Premier League money, bigger Anfield, etc. means more income to spend. Yeah, they've improved the stadium, got bigger sponsorship deals, and spent less money. It's embarrassing. Thank you, Anthony Taylor, for becoming a member of the Terrace.
Big up Anthony Taylor. He's Arsenal's referee, mate. Won us 2 cup finals. Big up to him.
Jay here says, Rice, Partey, and Odegaard is our best midfield 3. We need to start it against United and preferably the rest of the season, is what Jay said.
That's a great comment as well, because if you ask anyone what Arsenal's best 11 is, we'll all pretty much come to the same conclusion. So why don't the manager see this? We know the front 3 is the front 3. Saka, Martinelli and Jesus if he's fit. If he ain't fit, then Trossard starts. The midfield three is just named, and then the back line, yeah, if Zinchenko's fit, cool, he's in there. I accept Tierney ain't getting a game. Right back's Ben White, and then the two centre backs. And the goalkeeper that we've just brought in is now the number one for me. So you could change maybe one player here and there between us all, but we all come to pretty much the same conclusion. We don't put Thomas Partey at right back and Timber at left back and Havertz in midfield and Eddie up front. Come on, man. Yeah, this is a wake-up call this season, trust me. And don't worry, yeah, I have got it all duly noted in my head, all of these people and what they've said to me, mate. So yeah, hopefully I'm proven wrong and he does actually win stuff. But if he don't, when this meltdown happens, which is inevitable because half of them are lying through their teeth about backing this manager, right? Trust me, I'm coming for all of them.
Remember when you signed Kolstrom with a broken back?
Oh.
Yeah, that was a madness. That was a madness one. Thank you here to Alan Hall for becoming an official member of the Terrace. Thank you. Was a pen, but Wolves weren't robbed because they should have been out of sight. They need a finisher. I get that logic. I do. Top Gooner's back. He says, this waffler is no Arsenal fan. You're a Chelsea fan posing as an Arsenal fan. Bring better Arsenal reps to the panel, Terry. Clown emoji for Lee in the chat.
Why don't you take my place next week, mate, and put your camera on? We'll see what you got to say. How about that? I'm fully cool to be subbed next week, so if he wants to come on.
DM me if you want to come on and replace him, bro.
I'll sub out next week. If he wants to come on, I'll fully sub out next week and let him in.
Nathaniel here says, Havertz is the most defended donkey. It's even a disgrace to even say he's better than Danny Welbeck. Love that Arsenal signed him, is what Nathaniel says. Sorry, already done that one there. Thank you. Only manager I back with any signing is Pep, is what John says. Memphis says Eric Ten Hag's recruitment is highly overrated, in my opinion. Listen, I hear what people are saying. That there's some hit and misses in there. That there's no doubt about it. Like Anthony's got to do so much better this year. If he doesn't, that's going to be one that sticks with him forever because of the price. But then there are other signings like Martinez and Casemiro. I think Onana's going to be good for. So glad he didn't concede the penalty though, because he had a good game, Onana, up until that point. And then I was like, that's a bit bloody erratic.
Yeah, so far he's wiped a player out. He's been logged from the halfway line, but he's got a couple of nice little passes on him, isn't he? It's not been a great start to his United career, let's be real. But I like him. I think he's a good goalkeeper, but a bit iffy at the minute.
Big up, Goats. My club is in the mud. Thank you, Chumbai. And I'm official Mr. No Ambition Klopp. I want him out my club. Ooh. I truly believe, he says, I truly believe he's become a yes man. I'm losing my heads.
Spicy Wenger. The spicy Wenger, mate.
The spicy Wenger. Lee said sack the medical team. I rate that still. Lee is, I'm still baffled. We signed Kai Havertz when we have ESR that's far better than him. We should have signed Tony and Kudus.
That's a good comment about Smith Rowe. He is better than Havertz. Miles better than Havertz. So yeah, totally agree. And the amount of injuries we get is crazy.
You do have a lot. This here says, Lee, you are hypnotized with hatred against Arteta. Some say hate is confused admiration.
Yeah, great. I don't know what mental gymnastics you're doing in your head before you're typing that, my friend. Thanks anyway.
Havertz helped Chelsea beat FFP on you, Mikel.
Yeah, they've got Caicedo for 50 million and Havertz. Like, it's crazy, isn't it?
I know. Terry and Lee, do you think Arteta or Ten Hag could win the league with City's team? Yes.
No.
I think one of them could.
Nah. Arteta would overthink it. And the players wouldn't. Listen, I know some of the players played with him when he was the number two, but nah, I just don't get it. Nah, I don't think either of them would.
I hear you. Waiting for the next deluded Gooner, not deluded Gooner, the next deluded Gooner saying Kai is the next Thierry Henry.
Wait till he scores his first goal for Arsenal, mate. The meltdown, the wet floor signs will be out, the mops will be out. They need the towels out to dry it. It's going to be peak, mate, when he scores. They're probably against Luton or something.
This year says stole 115 million from Chelsea just to pinch 16 million for Balaba. I think it's pronounced Balaba. Yeah, do you know what's funny? Can you imagine if the guy that they replaced Caicedo with has a better season than him? I get your point of like Brighton just spend more money. No, maybe our clubs should stop spending money and just go after their younger targets and not spend money. It'd be amazing. But then having said that, because people think, Basuma looked really good the other day. If Spurs get Basuma, If they get Basuma to his level, geez. Let him and Lee on next week. Lee will cook him. Yeah, I wish you get both of you on at the same time. We do a triple threat match.
Well, I'm up for that all day long because you can't test my knowledge on the club. You can't test how many games you've been to compared to me. Like, you can't test how long I've supported the football club. So what are you coming with? Your fantasies about Arteta? That's it, bro. Yeah, the game's about winning trophies, and we ain't won one since 4 FA Cups ago. So that's it.
This is as a United fan. Yesterday's performance reminded me of Van Gaal football. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. It's Dutch. Yeah. Is Neymar's career overrated based on hype?
No. See again. I've seen this so many times since he's gone to Saudi. The guy's literally won a trophy every single year for the last 14 years. He's actually completed football. The only thing he hasn't won is a World Cup. He's won everything. How is he overrated? He's literally won every single trophy. He's won a trophy every single year since 2009 or 10 or something.
We'll keep this between you and I. Where do you rank him in terms of all the attacking players in the last 20 years? Where did he rank for you?
He's up there.
With Messi and Ronaldo being number 1 and number 2, in my opinion.
Well, Ronaldo ain't in my top 10, mate, so let's not go there. No. Ronaldo
is not in the top 10 players of the last 20 years.
No. Mate, I've said this before. He ain't even my top 50 of all time. Terry, you're forgetting how old I am. Yeah, I've seen proper footballers. Yeah, Ronaldo turned in to just a stat padder. Good luck to him. Well done. When he was at Man United in 08, was it 08? Yeah, 08, 09. Then cool. He was fantastic. He then went to Madrid and was good for a year or 2 years. And then he just went, nah, sod this. I want to catch Messi. Sorry, mate. But Neymar's a better footballer than Ronaldo all day long.
So on Ronaldo, I'm leaving that to the comment section to deal with that one. Where do you rank him?
The comment section of 14, Terry. So they're fancy Ronaldo anyway.
Let me ask you a question. Do you put Neymar above Mo Salah?
All day long.
Do you put Neymar above Ronaldinho?
No, they're taking liberties for that one.
I'm just
Ronaldinho.
Is he above Eden Hazard?
Oh, all day long.
What about Kylian Mbappe?
All day long.
Interesting. Lewandowski?
All day long.
So who do you have? You have Messi as number 1. Who's your number 2 in that period?
Well, in the last 20 years,
yeah.
Well, Thierry Henry was still playing then, wasn't he?
Yeah. So Neymar or Thierry Henry, in your opinion?
Henry. Yeah, Henry.
Bergkamp or Neymar?
Oh, don't even test me on Bergkamp. That's my favourite footballer ever for my club. Bergkamp's light years clear.
Of Neymar?
Yep. Light years clear. But this is what I'm saying. How am I getting Ronaldo in this conversation with the players you're naming? He ain't in there, Terry.
Why?
Ronaldinho, come on. Yeah, how many players have you just named? You've literally just named probably about 7 or 8 different players. Yeah, and out of them, I've gone, well, he's better than him. He's better than him. He's better than him. Then I said Henry and Bergkamp. So Henry, Bergkamp, Messi, Ronaldinho, Neymar. There's 5 straight off. Luis Suarez would be in my top 10. Luis Suarez was unbelievable.
Where I disagree with you on the Ronaldo situation is I understand what he became in the latter stage of his career. He was more static, he played more through the middle, become more of a goal poacher. But that was in an age bracket where a lot of the players you mentioned had either retired or stopped playing at the highest level. So Neymar's 31, and he's now having to go and play in Saudi Arabia because no big clubs have come in for him. Injury problems have been a big part of that, I understand, right?
It's not just that, it's the wages.
Yeah, but they don't think they're going to get...
Barca did want him. Let's just put it out there. Barca did want him.
Yeah, cool. But they don't think they're going to get a return on his wages, which means they don't think he's good enough to warrant what he's demanding in payment. My point is Ronaldo did change his game, but he did that at an age where a lot of other players that you're talking about were no longer playing at the elite level of the game. In Ronaldo's pomp from 18, 19 years old until he's early 30s, this guy... dribbling ability, his skill, his power, his running, his touch, some of his passing, his variety of goals from screamers, headers, tap-ins, free kicks. his intricate skill and his intricate ball playing ability, that all existed. What's happened to Ronaldo, in my opinion, a lot of people have looked at his decline and what he became in the end, and they've tried to redefine his career.
Not at all, Terry. I've seen his whole career. I said he was brilliant at Man United. He's got 42 goals for United.
He was brilliant. He was brilliant. He was doing that in his first 5, 6, 7, for large parts of his Real Madrid career as well. He wasn't, what he became was in the latter stages when he was older. And this is my point. He was doing that when so many of these other individuals had stopped playing at the highest level or had dropped off a cliff in terms of conversations for one of the best players in the world. Technically, listen, in 30 years' time, Neymar, Messi, and Ronaldinho are still going to be technically brilliant. We've seen old legends do that. The technical ability never really leaves football players, as an example. But I think to say Ronaldo can't chat to these people, and if you don't have him in your top 10, that's a preference thing. But to say he's not, objectively speaking, not in the top 50 players of the last 20 years.
No. Don't misquote me. I said the last 50, the best 50 of all time.
Of all time. Okay, yeah. I'll rephrase it. To say he's not in the best 50 players of all time, in my personal opinion, with what he's won, which you hold above everything else, the amount of outputs, the consistency in the 20-year career he's had, I think is a abomination to football, as an opinion.
Cool. I'm cool with that. I'll still sleep tonight. I'll still sleep well, Tell. Yeah, at the end of the day, I've seen the best of the best, mate, in my lifetime. Yeah, and that's why when people want to sit there and tell me about Odegaard and rate this player and jog on, mate. I've seen the best footballers in history. Yeah, in history. And I'm supposed to rate after this crap that we're playing now.
Yeah, but Ronaldo's light years above of Odegaard as a football player.
Yeah, no, I was just using him as an example. I've seen the very, very best of world football in my lifetime. Growing up in the 90s and the noughties, tell you, that was the best best era, that 20-year span of any football ever. And look how many talented and amazing, great footballers have come out of that. When you think of GOAT players, most of them have come out of that era. How many GOATs are playing now? How many players that are currently playing football right now? Let's just go Premier League, for example, for now, yeah? Right now in the Premier League, how many of these players in 20, 30, 40 years' time will go down as GOATs? Probably none of them. Maybe Erling Haaland. Well, but yeah, again, is he a good footballer? No, he ain't. He's just a goal output machine.
I understand, but this is, I think what you're getting not wrong, but you're doing what our parents said to us and what their parents said to them. You are thinking of players that you saw as a kid and in your adolescence when you first fell in love with football. They're your first love, and you still hold them dear. Because when I was raving about Man United players like Giggs and Scholes, when I was raving about Henry's and Dad, they're so good, aren't they? Ronaldinho's. My dad recognized they were good, but my dad was like, yeah, but what about? And he would start talking about your Bests and your Pelés and your Maradonas and Glenn Oddle and a player that never gets mentioned for how good he was. Michel Platini. Like, these guys were ridiculously good. But then my dad said that when he was raving about them, his dad would pull him aside and say, Sir Stanley Matthews and blah, 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 blah. And this is what happens. And the youngsters now that are bigging up this current crop, they won't get what you're saying until 20 years' time when it's happening to them. This happens with music. Every generation said, my music's the best era. And the previous generation says, it's shit. Mine was the best. We all do it.
I know. Can I just say, disclaimer, this era of music is dead. The same as this era of football is dead. Let's just be real with it here, Tel. This era of football and music
that's just because you're old. That isn't dead. You're old.
I am old.
Because our parents and grandparents said our era was dead. My dad said to me once, my dad's in the industry, he said there aren't very many singers around. This was in the pop era, that in 10, 20 years' time, their music will still be played. I'm like now, I wind him up and go, Dad, I still hear Robbie Williams on the radio all the time. Like his old music. And this happens. And there'll be certain singers out now who will last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But you don't know that until later. You don't know who our true legends are now until 30 years' time, and they're still being loved and sung about and spoken about. But you don't know until you know. Does that make sense?
No, there are certain I have eyes.
I'll tell you a player that barely gets a mention now as one of the best strikers in Europe. But when we were kids, everyone rated him. Two of them. One, Baggio. Two, Batistuta. When we were kids...
Again, disclaimer, Batistuta is one of the greatest strikers of all time. I've said this so many times.
Remember, what I'm saying is, though, his legend hasn't stood the test of time because younger people don't talk about him anymore. More people talk about George Best, who retired 15, 20 years before he made his debut, then they talk about those two. The point is, that doesn't mean they weren't greats. It's just a new generation forgets about them. And that there'll be a handful of players from every era who transcend the test of time, and others just get forgotten about. And it's because you can't talk about everyone, I suppose. Let's get back to some of these super chats here. First one says, does anyone remember?
One sec, I'll be
no
back.
worries. Does anyone remember Jorginho from Borough? Yeah, that guy was a baller. Probably the best free kick taker I've ever seen as well. I love 90s footballers. Zola is another one. Zola was class. Bash here says, I latterly every week wait for my guy Lee to reveal myself with all the crap these new fans are chatting about. Big up to the class of 82. We know ball.
Come on, baby. We know ball, bro. We know ball. These kids have never seen top ballers in their life, mate.
I love it. I love it. Lee is one of those old boys down the pub who's seen it all, done it all, had it all. Chief Waffler is what he says there. Yeah, everyone becomes that person. Remember Bergkamp's goal against Newcastle? Everyone tried to ask, did he mean it? It was Dennis Bergkamp. It wasn't even a debate.
Thank you.
That
guy is the greatest footballer Arsenal have ever had, mate.
It's not a bad shout. Now who's a deluded one, Terry? I don't know what you're referring to. About my Ronaldo claim? I don't know. Ronaldo has been playing with a damaged ligament in his knee since 2014. Still won 4 Champions League, 4 Ballon d'Ors, and the Euros. He's adapted his game due to his injury.
Well done to him. He's had a great career.
What, the greatest? Ronaldo 5 Champions Leagues and 3 Premier Leagues more than Arsenal. Lee 5 Ballon d'Ors. He's talking about Ronaldo there.
Yeah. And can I just say as well, another little disclaimer here. I watched Messi's debut. That's how old I am. Yeah. And that guy should have won the Ballon d'Or every year since then. Every year. He's easily been the best footballer on the planet every single season since he started playing Barcelona first team.
Poppycock. This here says, Terry, stop streaming with this tool is what Carl says. Damien here says, Terry, no point in putting a super chat to Lee about Arsenal. He'll just change the question when you prove him wrong to suit his agenda.
My agenda is for my club to do what it smashed Highbury down for, which they still haven't done. Hey! Bingo. Yeah, compete with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. Still waiting.
Another L from Lee. He's good for a laugh, is what Tad says here. Oliver says Ten Hag is a better manager because he's actually a manager compared in game management and man management are better. Won something bigger as well. Arteta can't even win that. Well, in terms of he's won league titles in the Eredivisie and stuff like that. So yeah, he's got that on his side in the debate. I don't want to see Lee replaced, but I would love to come on and talk with him. Love that man. Big up Lee. We might do some call-ins next week then, just to change it up a little bit and see what people have got to say.
Last time we did that, it was pure love. It was. Half of these idiots that run their mouth in the chat ain't got a camera that works.
Agree 80%. Lee says, but Timber played left back at Ajax before.
Yeah, this is the Premier League. Like,
I'm very worried about Arsenal. A lot of problems there now. Do you know who I see say that? You know Saracen Guna. You know the guy who did the whole thing. He did a video that went viral about a year ago saying you got the best young team in the world. He's if you saw him, you recognize him. He was on AFTV at the weekend, and he was like, "We need a prolific striker. We've got problems. I think we've regressed since last year."
I shared that clip because again, he was talking about Osimhen and Mbappe and Kane, right? Is that the guy?
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, got shouted over non-stop. We ain't getting him. We ain't getting him. Why is it anyone who has a different of opinion gets shouted over? Makes no sense. Same with your man.
I'm going to make you laugh. This is away from Arsenal. There's a rumor coming out of Spain. I hope this happens. That Real Madrid might inquire about Harry Maguire.
No chance. Yeah, Ancelotti's not that dense. Whoever started that's trolling.
In my opinion, that's come from someone Maguire's side to try and get United to hurry up and make this payout. Because basically, we want to sign. What do you think of Pavard?
He's all right.
I was from a troll account. Okay, I only saw it got shared by.
See, Terry fell for the troll account.
No, I didn't.
There's a shock.
hang on. So no, it was shared by one of the big United aggregator accounts, United Plug, and I just see it on their thing, so I didn't take it. Okay, so troll account.
Pavard's all right. He's just not for me. I wouldn't want him at Arsenal. Put it that way.
Yeah, I'm a little worried there. Liverpool should sign Zambo Ngisa. Maybe. I don't know how good he is, but there we go. It's going to be an interesting one. Lee, it's always a pleasure to talk football with you. Nearly 2,000 likes on this show. Maybe the biggest live stream we've done for a while on Straight Facts. I want to thank all our members, our super chatters, everyone who's hit the like button. Make sure as well, people, you turn on bell notifications because you won't always know when we're live. YouTube isn't that great at that. So there's two options. You can do the normal notifications, or you can also turn on all notifications so you get it pushed through to your phone when we go live. So go and get signed up to that right now. Literally next to the subscribe button on your screen. Do it. Lee, until next time, my friend, I'm sure we'll speak again. Everybody take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll